A flat tire, two boys, and an unexpected encounter. It was a chilly evening in Los Angeles, the kind where the sun dipped low behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The streets were alive with the hum of the city, cars honking, pedestrians bustling, and the ever-present energy of life moving forward. Amidst the motion of the city, two teenage brothers, Malik and Jaden, were walking home from school. Their backpacks were heavy, filled with books, and their minds were occupied with thoughts of the upcoming weekend. Life wasn't always easy for them, but they had each other, and that was enough. As they passed an intersection near Sunset Boulevard, something unusual caught Malik's eye. "Yo, Jaden, check that out." He nudged his younger brother, pointing toward the side of the road. There, parked under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, was a sleek, black vintage Ford Mustang with a flat tire. Standing beside the car, slightly bent over, was a man dressed in jeans and a leather jacket. His long, dark hair framed his face, and he appeared to be struggling with the situation. Jaden squinted. "Wait, is that? Nah, no way." But as they got closer, recognition dawned upon them both. The man was Keanu Reeves. "Dude," Jaden whispered, eyes wide. "That's John Wick." "No, that's Neo, bro," Malik corrected with a chuckle. "Either way, he's in trouble." The two boys exchanged glances. Most people might have walked past, assuming the man had a way to handle it himself, but that wasn't in their nature. Their mother had raised them to help first, ask later. "Come on," Malik said, already moving toward the car. An act of kindness. Keanu was staring at the deflated tire, his hands resting on his hips. He let out a slow breath, clearly considering his options. The city never stopped moving, but at that moment, he felt oddly stranded. "Need a hand, sir?" Malik's voice broke through the silence. Keanu turned, his eyes landing on the two boys who had just approached. He blinked, then smiled. "Hey, guys." Jaden felt his heart speed up. Keanu Reeves was actually talking to them. Yeah, we saw you needed help." Keanu ran a hand through his hair. "Yeah, I was trying to call someone, but my phone's dead, and I don't have a spare." He chuckled. "Not my best day." Malik grinned. "Lucky for you, we got skills." The brothers immediately sprang into action. They weren't mechanics, but their uncle had a repair shop, and they'd spent enough weekends there to know how to fix a flat tire. Malik jogged to a nearby gas station and returned with a can of Fix-A-Flat, while Jaden worked on loosening the lug nuts. Keanu, impressed by their determination, squatted next to them. "You guys do this often?" Jaden laughed. "Our uncle's a mechanic. He taught us a few things." Within 20 minutes, the Mustang was roadworthy again. Keanu stood up, brushing his hands off on his jeans, and looked at the two boys with admiration. "You guys just saved my night," he said genuinely. "I owe you." Jaden shook his head. "Nah, man, we're just happy to help." Keanu's eyes softened. There was something rare about these kids. Their kindness wasn't for attention or reward. Still, he reached into his jacket, pulling out his wallet. "At least let me." Malik put up a hand, shaking his head. "We can't take money for helping someone." Keanu studied them for a long moment, then nodded in understanding. "All right, but I won't forget this." He extended a hand, and both boys shook it firmly. As they walked away, they didn't realize that Keanu watched them go, a small smile on his lips. The next morning. Saturday mornings were usually slow for Malik and Jaden. They spent their time either playing video games or helping their mother around the house. But that morning was different. As they sat at the breakfast table, the sound of a car pulling up outside caught their attention. Not just any car, a sleek, black SUV. Jaden peeked through the window and nearly choked on his cereal. "Yo, Malik, we got company." Malik frowned. "What are you talking about?" Before he could finish his sentence, there was a knock at the door. Their mother, a woman with warm eyes and a sharp intuition, looked at them curiously. Who could that be? Malik and Jaden exchanged glances before Malik cautiously opened the door. Standing there, in all his movie star glory, was Keanu Reeves, flanked by two men in suits. Jaden's jaw dropped. No way. Keanu chuckled. Hey, guys. Mind if I come in? A life-changing offer. Their mother, although slightly surprised, welcomed Keanu inside. He sat on their modest couch, completely at ease, while the brothers perched on the edge of their seats, still trying to wrap their heads around what was happening. Keanu glanced around, noticing the small but cozy apartment. He could see the strength in this household, a family that worked hard, that looked out for one another. I wanted to thank you properly, Keanu began, not just for fixing my car, but for reminding me that there's still genuine kindness in the world. Malik shrugged. We were just doing what anyone should do. Keanu smiled. Not everyone would. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out 2 envelopes. I know you guys wouldn't take money, but hear me out, he said. I have a friend who runs a mentorship program for young people interested in mechanics and engineering. It's fully paid, and I'd like you both to be part of it. Malik and Jaden stared at him, stunned. Jaden swallowed. You don't have to do this. I know, Keanu said, but I want to. Silence filled the room as the weight of the moment settled in. Their mother, as soon as they stepped out of the SUV, a group of instructors greeted them, dressed in navy blue uniforms with the Institute's logo embroidered on the chest. Welcome, gentlemen, a man named Mr. Lawson said. You must be Malik and Jaden. We've heard great things about you. Malik raised an eyebrow. Great things? From who? Lawson chuckled. From the man who made sure you got here, Keanu. He told us what you did, and let me just say, you two have made quite an impression. Jaden nudged Malik. Dude, we got a Hollywood referral for fixing a tire. Malik grinned. Not bad, huh? Their first day was a whirlwind. They were given a tour of the facility, which was equipped with cutting-edge technology, high-tech car models, and a massive garage where students worked on real vehicles. The instructors wasted no time throwing them into hands-on learning. You guys already have some mechanical experience, right? Lawson asked. Malik nodded. Yeah, we helped our uncle in his shop a lot. Good. Let's see what you can do, Lawson said, leading them to a station where a dismantled Ferrari engine sat waiting. Jaden let out a low whistle. Man, Uncle Ray's garage never had this kind of upgrade. You boys up for the challenge? Lawson asked. Malik cracked his knuckles. Let's do this. Rising to the occasion. For the next few hours, Malik and Jaden were completely in their element. They followed instructions, took apart engine components, identified parts, and even helped troubleshoot issues on some of the Institute's training cars. Their natural talent became apparent quickly. While other students struggled with certain tasks, the brothers worked with an ease that impressed even the senior instructors. These boys are naturals, one instructor whispered to Lawson. Lawson nodded. They remind me of myself at that age. Give them the right push, and they'll go far. By lunchtime, the brothers had already earned the respect of their fellow trainees. Some were college students looking to refine their skills, while others were kids like them, young, ambitious, and hungry for opportunity. As they sat at a cafeteria table, enjoying the best meal they'd had in weeks, the Institute didn't hold back on quality food. They suddenly heard a familiar voice behind them. Not bad for a couple of first-timers. They turned around and, to their shock, saw Keanu Reeves himself standing there, dressed casually in jeans and a hoodie. Jaden nearly choked on his food. Bruh, why are you here? Keanu chuckled and took a seat across from them. This program means a lot to me. I fund it, but I also like to check in from time to time, especially when there are promising new recruits. Malik folded his arms, smirking. So you just happened to show up on our first day? Keanu shrugged. Maybe I wanted to see if my faith in you guys was well placed. Jaden leaned forward. And what's the verdict? Keanu smiled. You tell me. How do you feel? Malik exchanged a glance with Jaden before answering. I feel like we belong here. Keanu nodded, clearly satisfied. That's what I wanted to hear. Before they could ask him more questions, Keanu gestured toward a nearby instructor. Come with me. There's something else I want to show you. A secret opportunity. Keanu led them down a hallway away from the main garage. At the end of the corridor was a door labeled Private Testing Area. He swiped a security card, and the door slid open, revealing a high-tech, futuristic workspace filled with prototype vehicles. Jaden's jaw dropped. This is straight-up fast and furious level stuff. Keanu grinned. The program you're in is just the beginning. If you work hard, you'll get access to opportunities that most people your age don't even dream of. This facility, it's where we test the next generation of cars, electric, hydrogen-powered, self-driving. If you stick with this program, you could be part of it. Malik felt a surge of adrenaline. This wasn't just about fixing cars anymore. This was about shaping the future of the industry. Jaden turned to Keanu, his eyes filled with excitement. You really believe we can be part of this? Keanu placed a hand on Jaden's shoulder. I don't just believe it. I know it. At that moment, Malik and Jaden realized that what had started as a random act of kindness had turned into the opportunity of a lifetime. And they were ready to take it. A road paved with destiny. The weight of possibility settled on Malik and Jaden like an unexpected sunrise, blinding yet full of warmth. Standing in the futuristic testing facility, they realized they were on the cusp of something extraordinary. The metallic hum of machinery, the sleek, untamed beauty of untested vehicles, and the scent of innovation thick in the air. It was a world they never imagined being part of. And yet, here they were, standing beside Keanu Reeves, who had somehow seen potential in them when all they had done was fix a flat tire. Keanu turned to face them, his expression unreadable. I know this might feel like a dream, but I promise you, it's real. He motioned toward a row of electric prototype vehicles lined up under bright LED lights. Most people don't get to see this. What's being built here will change the future of transportation. And if you're serious about this program, you won't just be watching. You'll be part of it. Jaden exhaled slowly, trying to steady the whirlwind inside him. His life had always been about small things, getting through school, keeping up with chores, helping out at Uncle Ray's shop when needed. He had never pictured himself on the cutting edge of technology. I don't even know what to say, he admitted. Malik, always the one to adapt faster, rubbed his hands together and grinned. I say we stop asking if we belong here and start proving that we do. Keanu smiled approvingly. That's the spirit. Come on, there's someone I want you to meet. The brothers followed him through a corridor that led to an underground section of the facility. As they stepped inside, they were greeted by an older man with silver hair and a mechanic's jumpsuit. His name tag read Mr. Delgado. He had an air of quiet authority, the kind that came from decades of experience. So these are the kids Keanu's been raving about. Delgado mused, wiping his hands on a rag. His eyes were sharp as they scanned Malik and Jaden, as if assessing their worth in a single glance. Tell me something. Do you boys know what a hydrogen fuel cell is? Malik answered first. It's an alternative energy source for cars. Cleaner than gas, more efficient than most batteries. Delgado nodded. Good. And do you know what happens if it's not calibrated correctly? Jaden hesitated, then ventured. It could lead to an engine failure. Delgado's lips curled into a slight smile. That's the polite way of saying it. The truth is, if done wrong, it could blow a hole through a car the size of your head. Jaden swallowed hard. Right. So, don't mess it up. Keanu chuckled, and Delgado shook his head, amused. I like these kids already. He tossed them a pair of work gloves. Let's see if you can handle yourselves in a real lab. Follow me. The test begins. The next few hours were unlike anything Malik and Jaden had ever experienced. Instead of simple engine repairs like they were used to, they were introduced to highly sensitive components, state-of-the-art diagnostic tools, and the intricate science behind the next generation of transportation. Under Delgado's watchful eye, they worked side by side with engineers who had years of training. At first, the complexity of it all was overwhelming. Every wire, every bolt, every recalibration had to be precise. One wrong move, and the entire system could be compromised. Jaden struggled with the pressure. His hands trembled slightly as he tried to adjust a key component inside the hydrogen cell. He wasn't used to stakes this high. In his uncle's garage, a mistake meant a small fix. Here, it could mean something breaking down on a highway at full speed. Malik, noticing his brother's hesitation, nudged him. "Hey, you got this," he murmured. "Just think of it like one of Uncle Ray's cars. Take your time." Jaden exhaled, steadied himself, and nodded. Slowly, his hands stopped shaking. He tightened the component just right, and when he stepped back, Delgado checked his work. "Not bad," the old mechanic said, nodding in approval. "You might actually have a future here." For the first time that day, Jaden smiled in confidence. An unexpected challenge. As the day came to an end, the boys were packing up when one of the lead engineers rushed in. He looked flustered, his lab coat slightly disheveled. "Delgado, we've got a problem," he said quickly. "One of the prototype models is glitching. The regenerative braking system isn't syncing with the onboard computer. We can't figure out why." Delgado furrowed his brows. "Did you run a full diagnostic?" "We did. No coding errors, no mechanical failure, but something's off." Keanu, who had been observing from the sidelines, turned to the boys. "You up for a real challenge?" Jaden and Malik exchanged glances. Malik shrugged. "Might as well see what we're made of." Delgado led them to a large garage where the prototype, a sleek, futuristic electric car, sat on a testing platform. Engineers were huddled around, debating solutions. Malik and Jaden listened carefully as the problem was explained to them. The car's regenerative braking system, which was supposed to recharge the battery when slowing down, was failing to activate. It was a crucial issue, one that could determine whether the vehicle was ready for the market. Malik stepped closer, eyes scanning the wiring and digital interfaces. Did anyone check the sensor calibration? An engineer frowned. Why would that be the problem? The diagnostics didn't show a fault. Jaden, catching on, added, "Yeah, but what if the sensors are just slightly off? Like, not enough to register as an error, but enough to mess with the system." Delgado's eyes widened slightly. "That's a damn good theory." Within minutes, they tested it. And sure enough, the sensor calibration was off by a fraction. It was an easy fix, but one that had gone unnoticed by even the professionals. As the system rebooted, the regenerative braking activated perfectly. The room erupted into murmurs of approval. One of the engineers clapped Malik on the shoulder. "You just saved us weeks of troubleshooting." Keanu, watching from the sidelines, smiled knowingly. "Told you they were special." The road ahead. That night, as they rode back home in the SUV, Malik and Jaden sat in silence, letting everything sink in. Jaden finally spoke. "Do you think we're really cut out for this?" Malik turned to him. "Do you think we aren't?" Jaden exhaled. "No, I think, for the first time, I feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be." Malik grinned. "Good, because I have a feeling this is just the beginning." And deep down, they both knew he was right. The spark that ignites greatness. The city lights blurred past the tinted windows of the black SUV as Malik and Jaden sat in contemplative silence. The weight of the day pressed on them, not in exhaustion, but in a way that made them feel heavier with purpose. They had stepped into a world that once seemed reserved for geniuses, engineers, and people with connections they never thought they'd have. And yet, they had proven themselves in their first real challenge. Jaden leaned his head against the window, watching the distant skyline. You think this is really happening, or we're just in some long dream we haven't woken up from yet? Malik smirked. If it's a dream, I hope we never wake up. The SUV pulled to a stop outside their apartment complex. Their mother was waiting at the door, arms folded, her face lined with concern. But the moment she saw them, her expression softened. There was something different about her boys. They stood taller, their steps firmer, their eyes carrying a newfound sense of direction. As they stepped inside, she pulled them both into a tight embrace. I don't know what happened today, she murmured, but whatever it is, I can see it's changing you. Malik met Jaden's gaze, and for the first time in a long while, they felt undeniably certain about their future, breaking the mold. The following days at the Institute were a whirlwind of learning, hands-on experience, and deep dives into technology they had only seen in movies. It wasn't just about fixing engines anymore. It was about building the future. They worked on self-driving systems, electric motors, and hydrogen fuel cells. Every challenge thrown at them was a puzzle waiting to be solved, and with each solution, their confidence grew. One afternoon, while testing an experimental vehicle's adaptive AI system, Jaden noticed a strange pattern in its braking response. The car's onboard computer was meant to anticipate obstacles before the driver even reacted. But something was off. Malik, check this out, he called, motioning for his brother to come over. Malik studied the data on the screen. It's lagging by half a second. Yeah, which doesn't sound like much, but at high speeds, that half second could be the difference between stopping safely or crashing. They brought the issue to Mr. Delgado, who, instead of brushing them off, listened. That was the beauty of this place. Ideas mattered, no matter who they came from. Jaden suggested a recalibration of the system's predictive algorithm, a tweak that was so minor yet so crucial. The engineers ran the numbers, made the change, and in the next test, the car responded flawlessly. The head software engineer turned to them, shaking his head in disbelief. You two just fixed a problem we've been struggling with for weeks. Delgado chuckled, watching the boys beam with pride. Told you they were sharp. The unexpected invitation. A week later, as they were finishing up a project, Keanu showed up again. This time, he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a woman in a sleek business suit, her sharp eyes scanning the workshop with an analytical gaze. Boys, Keanu said, a slow smile forming. Meet Eleanor Vasquez. She's one of the leading minds in automotive innovation, and she's got something interesting to offer you. Malik and Jaden wiped the grease off their hands, their curiosity piqued. Eleanor crossed her arms. I've been hearing a lot about you too. About your instincts, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to see solutions others overlook. Jaden shrugged. We just like fixing things. Eleanor smirked. Well, how about fixing something a little more high stakes? She pulled out a tablet and showed them a sleek blueprint of a next-generation concept car. It was unlike anything they had worked on before, a hybrid between an electric sports car and an AI-driven vehicle, built for extreme performance. This, she said, is the X1 project, a prototype for a future high-speed, sustainable racing division. We've been running into technical issues with its power distribution system and predictive AI. We need fresh eyes, people who think outside the box. Jaden frowned. You want us to work on that? Eleanor nodded. Not just work on it. Help us solve it. Malik exchanged a glance with Jaden. This was beyond anything they had imagined. It wasn't just about fixing cars anymore. It was about changing the industry, shaping the future of transportation. Keanu watched them with a knowing look. I told you this was just the beginning. A world beyond their wildest dreams. That night, as they sat on their apartment's small balcony, overlooking the city, the weight of everything finally settled in. We're really doing this, Jaden murmured. We're not just fixing tires or working at Uncle Ray's garage anymore. We're stepping into something big." Malik stared at the night sky, the stars reflecting in his eyes. "Yeah, and I think we're just getting started." Their journey had begun with a single act of kindness. A chance encounter with a flat tire had spiraled into something neither of them had ever imagined. But now, they weren't just passengers in this story. They were driving it. The road to greatness. The hum of the workshop was something Malik and Jaden had grown familiar with over the past few weeks. The steady clatter of tools, the rhythmic beeping of diagnostic machines, and the murmurs of engineers discussing equations that not too long ago would have sounded like a foreign language to them. But now, they were part of it. The X1 project was unlike anything they had ever touched before. The vehicle was a fusion of cutting-edge engineering and raw speed, built to push the limits of sustainable performance. Every part of it, the regenerative braking system, the eye-assisted aerodynamics, the high-efficiency electric motor, was meticulously designed to defy expectations. And yet, despite all the genius minds working on it, something was still wrong. The challenge that defined them. Malik crouched beside the prototype, running his fingers over the sleek metal of the vehicle's frame. It looked perfect, but perfection in design didn't always mean perfection in function. There was a problem with its power distribution, and none of the senior engineers had been able to pinpoint the cause. Jaden, hunched over a screen displaying a real-time simulation of the car's energy consumption, sighed in frustration. "It doesn't make sense. The numbers say it should work, but in actual tests, it keeps underperforming. It's like something is draining power without us realizing it." Eleanor Vasquez, the head of the X1 project, stood nearby, arms crossed. "We've checked every system 3 times. There's no leak, no energy wastage in the usual places." She turned to Keanu, who had been watching the boys quietly. "Are you sure these two can handle this?" Keanu chuckled. "You underestimate them." Malik suddenly froze, eyes widening. "Wait, what if we're looking at this the wrong way?" Jaden frowned. "What do you mean?" Malik tapped the side of the vehicle. "What if the problem isn't in the engine or the battery? What if it's in the chassis?" The room went silent. Eleanor blinked. "Explain." Malik grabbed a tablet and started drawing out a weight distribution model. "The X1 is built for extreme performance, right? Lightweight but powerful. But we've been focusing so much on the power output that we haven't looked at how the car's own structure might be affecting energy efficiency." Jaden's eyes lit up as he caught on. "You're saying the frame itself could be absorbing or misdirecting energy?" Malik nodded. "Exactly. If even a small part of the material is dispersing force inefficiently, it could be stealing power from the system without showing up as a loss." Eleanor's expression shifted, intrigued but skeptical. "That would be a design flaw. And no one on my team caught it." Keanu smiled knowingly. Sometimes fresh eyes see what experience overlooks. Eleanor sighed, rubbing her temples. "Fine. Test your theory." And so they did. The moment of truth. For hours, they ran calculations, rechecked blueprints, and conducted tests on the structural composition of the X1. The deeper they dug, the more their suspicion solidified. There was a tiny imbalance in how the car's frame distributed force, causing microscopic energy absorption. On a normal car, it wouldn't matter. But on a machine designed for absolute efficiency, it was enough to throw off the entire system. Jaden stood back from the screen, eyes wide. "We found it." Eleanor scanned the data, her expression shifting from disbelief to admiration. "I'll be damned. You two actually figured it out." Malik grinned. "Told you we weren't just here to watch." A call that changed everything. After the discovery, Malik and Jaden became key players in the X1 project. They weren't just students anymore. They were problem solvers, innovators. The same kids who had once fixed a flat tire on the side of the road were now working on one of the most ambitious automotive projects in the world. And then, one evening, everything changed. They had just finished another long day at the Institute when Keanu pulled them aside. His expression was unreadable, but his tone carried something different. "You guys have come a long way," he said, leaning against the workbench. "And I think it's time for your next step." Malik raised an eyebrow. "Next step?" Keanu pulled out his phone and showed them an email. The subject line made Jaden's stomach drop. Invitation. International Automotive Innovation Expo, Tokyo, Japan. Eleanor walked in at that moment, arms crossed. "You didn't think we were just gonna keep you locked up in this garage forever, did you?" Jaden blinked. Wait. "Are you saying?" Keanu smiled. "We want you two to represent the X1 team. Tokyo is where the best of the best go to showcase the future of cars. And you're going with us." Silence. Malik and Jaden could barely process it. A few weeks ago, they were just two kids walking home from school. Now, they were about to step onto the global stage. Jaden shook his head in disbelief. "This started with a flat tire." Malik smirked. "And now we're going to Japan." Keanu clapped a hand on each of their shoulders. "This isn't just about cars anymore. It's about proving that where you come from doesn't define where you can go. You two are proof that talent and heart will always find a way." Their mother cried when they told her. Uncle Ray nearly had a heart attack. Their neighborhood buzzed with excitement. Two local kids heading to one of the biggest innovation expos in the world. And for the first time in their lives, Malik and Jaden truly believed it. They weren't just passengers in their own lives anymore. They were driving their own destiny. The journey to hope. The airport was alive with movement. Passengers rushing to their gates, flight attendants gliding past with effortless grace, and the low hum of intercom announcements filling the air. Malik and Jaden stood in the middle of it all, their backpacks slung over their shoulders, their passports clenched in nervous hands. "We're actually doing this," Jaden muttered, staring at the boarding pass in his hand. "Tokyo, bro. Tokyo." Malik exhaled sharply, shaking his head in disbelief. "We went from fixing Uncle Ray's junkyard cars to representing an international engineering project. What even is our life right now?" "Beside them," Keanu chuckled. "Life has a funny way of taking us places we never expected. But you too. You earned this." Jaden took a deep breath. The weight of everything, the past, the struggles, the doubt, seemed to fade as they stepped toward the next chapter of their lives. A world beyond their imagination. The moment they landed in Tokyo, they knew they were somewhere special. The neon lights, the technological marvels at every turn, the hustle of innovation embedded into the very fabric of the city. It was overwhelming yet exhilarating. The International Automotive Innovation Expo was being held at a massive convention center that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Engineers, CEOs, and visionaries from all over the world gathered under one roof, unveiling the future of transportation. Eleanor, dressed in a sharp black blazer, met them at the entrance. "Welcome to the big leagues," she said with a smirk. "Are you ready?" Malik straightened his jacket. "Born ready." Jaden, always the nervous one, swallowed hard but nodded. "Yeah, let's do this." The spotlight moment. The X1 project was one of the most anticipated showcases of the event. The prototype sat on a rotating platform under glowing lights, its sleek, aerodynamic body drawing in crowds. Attendees murmured in awe, some snapping photos, others discussing the revolutionary energy distribution system, the very one that Malik and Jaden had helped refine. Eleanor took the stage first, introducing the X1's cutting-edge technology. Then, to their utter shock, she turned to the brothers. "And now, I'd like you to hear from two of the brightest young minds I've had the pleasure of working with. Their insights helped solve a critical flaw in this design, and their story is proof that talent can come from anywhere." Jaden's stomach flipped. "Wait, we have to talk." Keanu nudged them forward with a grin. "Go show them why you're here." With hesitant steps, they walked onto the stage. Thousands of eyes locked onto them. Malik took the mic first, his voice steady. When we first started working on cars, it was in a tiny garage in our neighborhood. We weren't thinking about changing the future. We were just fixing things because we loved it. Jaden found his voice next. But we learned that sometimes the smallest things can lead to the biggest opportunities. A few weeks ago, we were just two kids who stopped to help someone with a flat tire. He turned to Keanu with a grateful smile. And because of that, we got the chance of a lifetime. The audience erupted into applause. It wasn't just about the X1 anymore. It was about their journey. The legacy of an act of kindness. The rest of the expo felt like a dream. Industry leaders approached them, offering mentorships, scholarships, and even internships at top engineering firms. They had come from a world where opportunities felt scarce, where success stories belonged to other people. But now, they were the story. As they stood on the rooftop of their hotel that night, looking over the shimmering skyline of Tokyo, Jaden shook his head in disbelief. This all started because we stopped to help someone. Malik leaned on the railing, the wind brushing against his face. Yeah, I guess that just proves one thing. Jaden raised an eyebrow. What's that? Malik smiled. Kindness always finds its way back to you. Somewhere in the distance, the city pulsed with life. But for Malik and Jaden, their journey was just beginning. The road ahead was limitless. The future was theirs.